bringing sports, entertainment, and technology podcasts together. This is SPNT.
SPNT's Thursday Tech Talk is brought to you by Stitcher Smart Radio. Download the Stitcher Smart Radio app today at stitcher.com/SPNT.
Welcome to SPNT's Thursday Tech Talk, the show where we bring you the biggest stories in the world of video games, computers, tablets, mobile phones, and more. Now, here's your hosts, Nick and Nick.
What's happening, everybody? Thursday Tech Talk here on the SPNT Podcast Network. I am one of those Nicks that Uncle Rob mentioned there on the intro. So glad you could join us for another episode of Thursday Tech Talk. Anthony in the chat room on the ball already. LOL. He gets better every time, Uncle Rob. Yes, he does. Glad to, again, I've already said it 3 times. We're very glad that you can join us alongside my tag team partner, Nick Wallace. I'm Nick Suberling. Nick, what's happening, buddy? How you been?
Good, man. How you doing?
We had a week off last week. My Cincinnati Bengals played on Thursday night, so we had good reason to miss last week's show. Of course, it also helps that the Bengals were victorious. But, I can't complain. Busy times at SPNT, I must say.
Yeah, it's you got the holidays coming in, which makes everything busy, and everyone trying to wrap up everything for the year. Of course, means the news is light, but we'll try to entertain you as best we can.
Yes, absolutely. Let's get right into it with our headlines.
Headlines.
So you know how Apple with their App Store likes to charge that 30% cut from all the developers when you sell an app? Well, this year they extended that into also in-app purchases. So you saw a lot of people like Amazon and Dropbox removing their in-app purchases and putting them on the website so they don't get Apple a cut. Well, Microsoft, planning on bringing Office to iOS, and Apple earn a little spat over that 30%. Microsoft wants to charge upgrades for Office 365 and for SkyDrive in the app, but they don't want to give Apple that cut. Will they come to an arrangement? Probably not.
Just a few weeks until CES, which I will be at out in Las Vegas. Actually, I'll be leaving Las Vegas just as CES kicks off. I'm a little bummed about that. But it's not about me. It's about the headlines. Just under a month and a half, we'll see BlackBerry 10 in its final finished form. Invites to the U.S. event have now been sent out, with calendars being circled for January 30th at a location somewhere in New York City. Not only will we get the full details of RIM's new software, but those first devices that the new OS will arrive on.
So a lot of us old G geeks remember that one of the best routers out there was Linksys. Well, they were bought by Cisco. And then Cisco was in the consumer business instead of just regular enterprise computing. Well, after a bunch of, I personally say, screw-ups on the Linksys brand, Cisco is now selling it off its Linksys division. They're exiting the consumer business altogether, which is a good thing because we all remember how they ruined the flip cam.
Instagram has had quite a week since legions of disgruntled users voiced complaints over the app's shady terms of service update. One clause in particular caused many users to jump to the conclusion that Instagram planned to outright sell its users' pictures without explicit permission. Instagram quickly responded to the outcry by reassuring that it has no plans to sell photos. An update to the terms of service was also promised.
So the number 4 carrier in the U.S. is T-Mobile, and they're the only carrier without the iPhone. Well, guess what? T-Mobile is getting the iPhone next year. They are doing massive updates to their network to make sure it supports the iPhone. In fact, New York just got it today. And they're going to do something that is extremely crazy. They're going to sell phones how Europe does. That's right. No more 2-year contract subsidies for any smartphone. Could this be a radical change? Could this be the number 4 carrier switching it up and trying to scrap out with the big boys? I kind of like it.
Struggling video game publisher THQ announced it has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy, but it will continue to operate as it moves forward with an effort to sell its studios and assets. The publisher of franchises including Saints Row, Red Faction, and Company of Heroes has entered into a stalking horse bidder agreement with Clear Lake Capital Group. THQ will sell seemingly all of its assets and studios, including Austin's Vigil Games, Champagne's Volition, Vancouver's Relic Entertainment, and THQ Montreal Studios. Despite the announcement, THQ assured stockholders that all its studios remain open without any planned layoffs. Development on current projects such as Metro Last Light and Company of Heroes 2 will continue. And that is a look at this week's headlines.
Headlines.
Brought to you by Gazelle.com. Sell your iPads, iPhones, Android phones, any kind of tablets, and more over at spnt.tv/Gazelle. We'd love your support. All right, Nick, so let's break these down a little bit more.
All right. So with the Microsoft Apple snafu, Microsoft really wants to get Office everywhere. This is a radical change for Microsoft, who used to only support their platforms, didn't give any care in the world about anybody else. But now they realize if they want to dominate the business, Office is their big key into everything, and they're trying to get it everywhere. However, with the upgrades to SkyDrive and Office 365 being quite a massive charge, we're talking over $50 usually, they don't want to give Apple the 30% cut. We saw the same fight happen with Amazon with the Kindle bookstore and Dropbox with its storage upgrade pricing. So is it time for Apple to ink unique deals with specific companies over this 30% charge?
I don't know. It's all about making money, right?
Yeah. Apple makes a ton of money on that App Store. It's the most, if you look at it compared to Android, App Store's making the most of the revenue. And these in-app purchases are, a key to it. There's always the way around it. Microsoft can really, really screw over Apple and release Office for a very low cost on the iOS device, and then just sell the upgrades on the website and keep all the money. Or make it so the Office app is completely free, and you have to go to a website to sign up and pay money there, and then Apple doesn't get any money from it. And so they got a little bit of a bargaining chip because of how popular Office is.
Is it really that popular on iOS, though?
People are screaming for it on mobile platforms.
Why?
It's not guys like me and you. It's more the enterprise level. They want to be able to open stuff from Outlook and have that support in there, and open their Word doc and their Excel. Mainly, not really the phone part of it, but now the tablet part of it. Because now you can really edit something on a tablet a lot better than you can on a phone. But, there's alternatives out there. I think Quick Office is the best one of the alternative, and that's $10. And it does a pretty good job supporting it. Even now, Google is actually supporting integration with Quick Office. And so you don't have to use the Drive app. You can actually edit all your Google stuff in the Quick Office app. So that's a nifty thing. But Microsoft needs to get in there. They're losing their foothold into everything, and they really need to push this Office thing as hard as they can. I would argue it's the best product they make.
Just sounds like one more way for work to make me do stuff while I'm at home.
Yeah, but then you got to tell them, hey, guys, you're going to pay for my cell phone bill?
Exactly. I like how it is now, I have to be at work to be able to do work.
Yeah. So we got, we're going to talk briefly about RIM. They're going to unveil BlackBerry 10. I've seen some leaked screenshots of it. It's very iOS-y and Android-y in the way it looks. And I've saw some specs from the browser and some current benchmarks. It beats every mobile browser on the planet in speed and efficiency. So that's really cool because BlackBerry's previous browser was absolutely horrible. I know you can attest to that more than I can.
I'll believe it when I see it, Nick.
You gotta give RIM one credit. At least they're really trying to scrap and fight now that they've taken that big fall. And it seems like the new one CEO instead of two is actually really trying everything he can to come back and put RIM on top again in the enterprise world.
I don't know, man. That's an awfully steep hole.
It is. I almost thought RIM would be better dropping the hardware business altogether and using their technology in other ways, put it on other platforms like Android and iOS and Windows and say, hey, you can license our BBM or our email encryption technology and then, license it out and make money that way. But we'll see what happens. This is their last chance. This is it. If they fail here, they're done.
I'd be interested to see what kind of devices they come on.
Yeah.
That's where I think it's going to be a game changer. If they can get it on some good devices, some reliable devices, then maybe I'll think twice about where they stand. But I had a BlackBerry Storm. It was awful, but at the time it was good. But quickly, as soon as I opened the box, it quickly became not good.
I mean, the best thing about BlackBerry always has been BBM because it was free. You could message any other BlackBerry user. And the best thing about BlackBerry before the touchscreen took off was their keyboard. They had the best keyboard on a mobile phone. It was very easy to type. But where they falter is their software. I remember trying to help you set up Twitter on your BlackBerry Storm. And we couldn't even find a decent Twitter client on that thing, and Twitter's everywhere.
Right. It was bad.
I played with that phone for a little bit when you had it, and I'm like, this is the worst thing I've ever seen because you had to push down to click, and it was just. And I had one of the iPhone 3Gs at the same time, and comparing it to that, I was like, I'm glad I got the iPhone and didn't go BlackBerry.
Yeah, the click screen was. I see why they did it, but I don't know.
It was a good idea, but horribly implemented. Because there was only like 4 or 5 contact points. It wasn't. You had to like, if you were in a corner, you had to like kind of move your finger up to the upper corner to get the click, and that was really that wasn't the way to do it.
Right. They were bold. BlackBerry bold. You gotta like that. Smooth.
So big snafu here at the end of the year with Instagram, man. Users really upset, horribly upset.
You would have thought the world was ending.
You would have thought this is what the minds were talking about. Instagram.
Come on, that was a good joke.
It was a great joke.
Tomorrow the world's supposed to end. Come on.
Yeah, this is our last Tech News today, right?
That's right.
Or today, Thursday Tech Talk.
Hey, thank you, Leo. Thank you, Tom Merritt, Sarah Lane.
The only reason I said that, I was literally listening to it before we started the show, so it's on the brain.
There you go.
So Instagram with this terms of service, there's been some people defending it. I don't know if you saw the story with Tom from MySpace defending it on Twitter, and then a guy calling him out by running a sucky social network, and then Tom coming back as a complete asshole on the guy.
Did you see it?
Yeah.
Said the guy said coming from a guy who had a terrible social media or social website, and Tom's response was, "Yeah, that terrible social website I sold for $580 million while you're slaving away at work."
I mean, my opinion of the internet's friend of Tom has drastically lowered since that. I mean, that was harshness to the point of extreme. But what Tom is being delusional about, and I wish I would have replied to him, is great. He has money. He doesn't have to worry about money. But the rest of us normal users who have an everyday job shouldn't let a company like Instagram get rich over what we're doing. Yeah, great. You're providing a free service. That's awesome. Why don't you do what Flickr did and make it so if you want to do these advanced stuff, pay $20 a year, and then you're making money there. Or do it. It seems like anything that's touched by Facebook can't figure out an ad platform. Google's got it pretty much figured out. No one else can evolve on it. But as a regular user, I didn't delete my Instagram account, but I downloaded my photos and I uninstalled it from all my devices and just said I'm not going to use it. And I don't think I'm even going to go back now that they reverted the terms of service, because Flickr released a new version of their photo app for iPhone and Android. It's got Instagram filters. It's got internet sharing. Post right to Flickr. I already have a Flickr Pro account. I might as well use that. They're upgrading Flickr. They're putting focus back on it. So there's so many alternatives now. Instagram's got to watch it, or else they're going to really screw it up.
Yeah, I'm not deleting my Instagram account. I've got too many Bengal cheerleaders following me, so we'll just leave it at that, Nick.
Yeah. That's a good reason not to. But in the easy way to do it,
Or I should say I'm following them. They don't care about my pictures. I care about their pictures.
there you go. But the great thing to do it is they're going to sell the photos you took, so you can have an Instagram account and just not take a damn photo.
Hey,
And
I've only posted 4 pictures to Instagram, so if they want to take the photo of my shedding dog and sell it, by all means, I don't care.
Yeah, it's more of the fact that it's not even me and you who really. I have like 5 photos on Instagram. I rarely used it. When I took a picture with my phone, I used the regular camera app and shared it that way. And it's more of the fact that think of how many celebrities out there are using Instagram that are taking pictures of other celebrities or products or information like that, where they can say, "Hey, guess what, Nick? Do you like Coke? Show me a bunch of fancy, crappy, filtered versions of a Coke bottle."
Right.
Or, "Hey, this famous person wants you to use this, and show me." They have a photo of them for free. So it is pure profit what they want to do, but I'm kind of glad the users won. I like it when the users fight back against a company and they realize that, oh gosh, we need these users, and the users win. We win in the end. We that's a good thing to do.
Well, I will say this. I used Instagram to basically create and I wouldn't even call it a headshot. I used it's what I've used for my Facebook profile, my personal profile on Twitter, all the stuff for New Media Expo that I'm going to here in a couple weeks in Vegas. I submitted my profile, or I'll just call it a headshot because it's basically what it is that I used on Instagram. I used one of the filters, and so I will say this: I'm very thankful for the app because it's probably the best picture I have of myself. And all it was a picture that I took on a webcam, and then put it on my phone, and then ran a filter on it. I mean, that's all I did.
That's what Instagram's got to watch out for, because they have a good app and a good service, and if they upset that many people by overreaching with their terms of service, it's going to be very horrible. You're going to lose all those users, especially when, like I said, Flickr is completely free and now does the exact same thing. They have all those filters built into the phone app.
Wow.
And now you have competition backed by Yahoo, who has a new CEO who is really cleaning up there and fixing a lot of stuff. I mean, you should go log into Yahoo Mail, Nick. You'll be quite surprised.
No, I'm done with Yahoo.
Yeah, I'm just saying, don't use it. Just log into it.
I'll use Yahoo for one thing and one thing only, and that is fantasy football.
They do have I would argue the best sports functionality on the web. I think they have that thing cornered. I love ESPN's apps on the phone, but I don't think they can come close to Yahoo on the web.
Right, I agree.
So our last story here kind of breaks my heart a little bit. THQ files for Chapter 11. I am a huge fan of the Warhammer games. I've played all of them. I know my buddy Steve is. We played them all. THQ's done great with that. The studio they own, Relic, is in charge of those. They have released amazing games, since they were conceived. The Saints Row, that was Annihilation with Dark. That was a great game. So you got THQ now just struggling and struggling, and they finally had to file for Chapter 11. What people might not know, people are quick to blame the current CEO, Jason Rubin, formerly of Naughty Dog, the Uncharted guys. He started that company. It is not his fault at all. It was the previous CEO, Brian Farrell, who really screwed it up with the U-Draw tablet controller. They tried to do hardware. They wasted a lot of money on it. It didn't. It failed miserably, and that's what put him in this current situation. And they called in Jason Rubin. He's been in the games industry pretty much his entire life, and he's trying to recover it. I don't know, Nick. Are you a fan of any of the THQ games?
I was a fan of one game, Nick, and that was Wrestlemania 2000 for the Nintendo 64. I take that back. I played WCW versus
NWO.
Yeah, I played that one because I think that was the first one on the 64 that came out, and then there was WrestleMania 2000.
They also did a lot of the rally car games. You might have played one of those once or twice. THQ's done a lot of games that you don't even realize that they've done. They've been around for a long time, and it just hurts to see a good studio, with good practices, not like EA, which I could rant on for hours on how horrible they are.
Wrong.
I
What's
didn't
wrong
say
with EA?
I didn't say Madden was horrible. I said EA was horrible.
What's wrong with EA?
EA ruined BioWare, man. They ruined BioWare.
Okay. You're talking about EA. I'm talking about EA Sports. There's the difference.
EA Sports, I would have trashed them 3 years ago because every update to Madden was like meh, and then 2K was cleaning their clock with football, and it really was a better game overall. And then finally, I think they realized that we can't just coast anymore. Now Madden is great every year. They make great advancements. The NHL game is unbelievably good now. It's the best hockey game on the planet. And now FIFA. They used to be the world's worst soccer game, and now they're the best. So
it's not even close.
They are really tuning it up.
Although I have heard that Pro Evolution Soccer from Konami is arguably the best soccer game out there, but I don't know. I like that FIFA has all the licenses so they can have all the club teams and all the international teams, whereas I don't know if Pro Evolution Soccer has that ability. At least they didn't when I tried playing it back in 2010, I think. But no, I'm a huge FIFA guy. I play that game religiously. In fact, I just got FIFA 13. Love it. It's fantastic. So there you go.
Yeah, I mean, so you got EA Sports, which turned itself around. It turned into a good division of EA, and you have THQ, which is a great company that's doing the same. Releasing good games, not putting a bunch of DRM on them, and they're not selling horribly. They just they squandered their funds and their goodness on that U-Draw tablet with the previous CEO, and they're in some serious trouble now. I hope they can recover. The Warhammer license is one of the best consistent licenses across for strategy games.
Don't they do Medal of Honor?
No, they didn't do Medal of Honor. That was EA.
That's what I'm talking about.
EA did Medal of Honor, not THQ.
Oh, you switched back to THQ. Sorry, I missed that.
You missed the trends. It's all right.
Hello.
It's the holidays. But yeah, THQ. I hope they can recover. I hope they can get back into it. We're losing game companies left and right with layoffs. It's an expensive business to be in. They're expensive to make now. So we'll see what happens.
All right. So before we get into our apps of the week, give me 3 for those of you out there who have not gotten Christmas gifts yet and we'll just say the guy's gift guide to the female's heart from a tech standpoint. If you had to buy 3 things today, or your top 3 things for your wife for Christmas, what would you recommend?
Top 3 things for a girl for Christmas. Well, number one, I know my wife uses this a lot, is a Roku box. She watches a ton of Netflix on it.
Roku box or Apple TV?
I would go Roku box. It's more extendable. You can do more on it, like Amazon Instant Video, Pandora.
You can't do that on Apple TV?
Nope. The only thing on Apple TV is MLB and Netflix. I think they might now have an Amazon one, but
They have Hulu.
I still like Roku because it's $70 compared to 99. And then it's not iTunes dependent. You can do whatever you need to do with it.
Well, I'll tell you one reason why I would much rather have the Apple TV is you can watch YouTube videos, which you cannot do on a Roku box.
Nope, that's true. So get her either one, and then get her a Netflix subscription. Prepay for one so she can watch. My wife recently discovered How I Met Your Mother. She loves the show. She watched every season she could on Netflix, and then we used Amazon Instant Video to buy the one remaining one she couldn't see and watch that. And so I know that would get a lot of enjoyment out of for your wife.
It's a good one. We have a Roku box. I echo those sentiments. Although I want to get an Apple TV because I want to watch YouTube. When I post these episodes to YouTube, I can't watch them on the Roku box, and that's very frustrating. What else?
So
what's mine?
Yeah.
Probably if you're going to go the tech route for your wife or your significant other or girlfriend or whatever, you can't go wrong with an iPad, probably. I mean, especially if you want to make a big splash and you have the budget for it, I'd say an iPad. It's funny because I don't even have one, but I would love to have one. And I know for a fact that my wife, she would love to have one. She's mentioned it a couple times. And she just recently got an iPhone 4, although she was disappointed. And I'm totally changing subjects here, but she got her phone and discovered that she did not have a built-in turn-by-turn. Like, she was expecting to have that. And she was on her way to Louisville, and guess what? No turn-by-turn.
Well, guess what? She can listen to my pick of the week, and then that'll solve that problem.
Oh, I already told her to do that. Oh, yeah, I was right on top of that. So, yeah, I'd say iPad. There's a lot of cool apps for females out there.
I would also supplement yours and say mini.
That's true. An iPad mini. That is true. Although that might be a little more expensive at the moment. If I had to pick one, that's what I would go. I'd go with that. That's a solid choice, right?
Yeah, it's a definitely solid choice. It kind of relates to my next one. I would say the Kindle e-reader, not the Fire, not the tablet. Get the iPad or an Android tablet. I would say the actual e-reader. My wife has gotten...
Not the Paperwhite?
Yeah, the Paperwhite. Get that one. Whatever the current Kindle is, that's e-ink. Get that. I bought my wife a Kindle keyboard because that was the most current one when I got it, the 3rd generation. She has read at least 30 books on that thing, and she loves it, and it's one of her favorite devices. She uses it all the time, and it is the best thing ever. And now where it does the integration with Audible, so you can actually listen to your audiobooks.
I was to say, I ain't reading no books. I'll listen, but I ain't reading.
Well, the cool thing is you can listen to, like I did this when I did Ready Player One. I would be in the car at work listening to the book, and then when I came home and went to bed at night, I like to read. It syncs the position in the text of the book, so I can start reading where I left off listening, which is really cool. And you can download the audio files to the actual Kindle and listen to them on that as well. So it's a completely good reading device, audio or actual text. I personally think e-ink is much easier to read on than an LCD screen. In bed where it's lit up, bright, and they're other person can't sleep because it's a giant light next to you.
That's a good one. Can't go wrong with any of those. But we'd love to hear what you're getting your wives or your girlfriends or your significant others or family members, maybe your parents, friends. We'd love to hear what kind of tech stuff you've been giving your friends and family this holiday season. Email us at techtalk@spnt.tv.
Listening audience, it's that time in the show you've all been waiting for. The time when Nick and Nick tell you their apps of the week.
All right, Nick, you already kind of teased it. You've got an app of the week. Let's hear it.
My app of the week for us lowly iOS users out there who don't have the pleasure of an Android device. Google Maps released their official app. They're back on iOS, baby, and it has turn-by-turn navigation. And it is awesome. It blows Apple Maps out of the water. I've used it the other day, and it is the voice is nice in there. It doesn't sound as computery. The actual map is complete. And the UI, I think the UI is very well done, very well created. A lot of people. I didn't get any problems with Apple Maps. I only got weird maps sometimes. It never led me to the wrong place. It never took me that much out of my way. It gave me a couple turns I knew were wrong in Nashville here, but it did the job. But now Google's back to save the day, and I recommend it over Apple Maps any day of the week.
Didn't the person in charge of the development of Apple Maps get the can?
Yeah, I think we reported on that story that he got the can because it was the best mapping application ever made at the time.
Yeah, I don't know what they were thinking there.
They rushed it to market. They really did. There's this little hidden war right now between Apple and Google that is not in the press as much, where Apple is trying to kick Google out of all of iOS as much as possible and get you to use the Apple services. But while Apple makes great hardware, I would say their online services are not as good as Google's. Google's got more experience at it. They can knock it out of the park.
I think I would agree with that. My app of the week, I've got a little bit of a tricky dilemma here. Coming up on Sunday, my beloved Cincinnati Bengals, if you couldn't tell, for those of you watching the video on YouTube or live at spnt.tv/live, is my Cincinnati Bengals banner, flag, whatever you want to call it, behind me. Huge fan. They win on Sunday. They're in the playoffs. They're heading to Pittsburgh to take on the Steelers. Sunday is my lovely wife's birthday. Sunday, we're going to my in-laws to celebrate Christmas. Sunday, I got to find somewhere to watch the game. So what am I going to do? I'm going to load up my trusty Sunday Ticket app on my phone because I am a paid subscriber to the Sunday Ticket on DirecTV. It's its own standalone app. I am going to use this app on Sunday to watch my Bengals pummel the Steelers. So there you go. If you are a subscriber to DirecTV's Sunday Ticket, you can download the app. All you got to do is log in with your account, and you're able to watch Sunday Ticket on your mobile device. Those are our apps of the week. If you have a suggestion for app of the week, email us techtalk@spnt.tv. What are your thoughts on the apps of the week?
I thought that's pretty cool. Sunday Ticket released a standalone app. That's a good idea.
Anthony in our chat room says, "Oh, come on, that is not a app recommendation. That leaves out half the population like me that doesn't have DirecTV."
Hey, sports fans, you got to watch your games. You got to watch your games. I'm kind of spoiled since I'm a Chicago fan on most of everything except for hockey. So, WGN's pretty much everywhere in the country, so I can watch my Chicago games whenever I want, despite my Bears probably not making the playoffs.
Well, the Bears would never be on WGN, but okay, I see your point. The Cubs at least would be.
The Cubs would be. Bulls usually are, unless TNT's got the lockdown that night. But, you can get a lot of sports when Notre Dame. We never have to worry. We got the NBC app. We can always watch stuff, and you got to give your sports. You got to give away, man. I was at a festival when Notre Dame was playing a game this year on Saturday, going nuts on my ESPN live update, which isn't the actual game, which is like 10 minutes behind. So freaking out that what's going on because they were down at the time.
Yeah. Well, here's a recommendation for you, Anthony. Since you don't think my app was a recommendation, how about you email me at techtalk@spnt.tv with an app of the week recommendation yourself. You're more than welcome. Oh, and by the way, we're very glad you tune in each and every Thursday night at 9 o'clock Eastern Time here at spnt.tv/live. We'd love to see all you tech people out there in the chat room. Come join us. Come join Anthony as we enjoy Anthony talking smack to us as we do this show each and every Thursday. Probably, you know what? No, we're going to take the week off next week due to the holiday. We'll be back shortly thereafter New Year's. I'm excited because I will be in Las Vegas January 5th through the 9th for New Media Expo. That'll be a lot of fun. It'll be a lot warmer, that's for sure. Get to see Leo Laporte. Chris Hardwick is now a guest as a keynote speaker at New Media Expo that was just announced this week. So that's pretty cool. Get to see the man behind Nerdist Industries, the Podcast Awards on January 7th. I'll be there for that. And I'm actually going to be recording an episode of Irish Impact live from the Rio Casino in Las Vegas on the podcast convention floor at the Podcast Pavilion. Looking forward to that. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah, you got to, man, because the 7th is the day, right?
Yes, we will be recording that episode on Sunday the 6th, which I'm in another dilemma there because the Bengals could potentially be playing in a playoff game that day. So I've been racking my brain trying to get everything situated, trying to get all the equipment cataloged to make sure I can actually do the show from Vegas. So, Anthony says we should have done Tech Talk from the Media Expo. We'll see. That could still change.
So maybe you can answer me this question before we wrap up.
All right.
What the heck is the game on a Monday night?
Primetime TV ratings, man. That's all it is.
But you can't be drinking all day watching the football when you got to go to work on Tuesday.
It's called paid time off, my friend. I don't know what else to tell you. That's just how they do it.
I know. It just drives me nuts. I think they should put it on a Saturday, man. Saturday is college football day. That's what it is. Let's keep it that way.
Well, all these games used to be played on New Year's Day. They don't even do that anymore.
Yeah, that was weird. I remember that when did that end? 3-4 years ago?
It ended when these corporations realized that there's money in it. Go figure.
Yeah, I remember New Year's Day, you were constantly flipping between games going, all right, Notre Dame's winning. Let me go check out all these other teams to see, to make sure that, they were losing or, because they didn't tally number one till after that when we were kids, did they?
Right.
It was all down to that bowl game on New Year's Day. Now it's a little bit different, but.
Yeah. But hey, you know what? It'll be fun. I'm looking forward to Vegas. But we'd love to hear from you. Whether you got some suggestions for app of the week. Like I said, what did you get your friends and family from a tech standpoint for Christmas or Hanukkah or any kind of holiday that you celebrate? We'd love to hear from you. That email address, techtalk@spnt.tv. Nick, have a wonderful Christmas. Happy New Year, and go Irish.
Go Irish.
And that is going to do it for this edition of Thursday Tech Talk. Thursday Tech Talk is an SPNT production. For more information about our other podcasts, make sure you log on to spnt.tv. From everybody here at Thursday Tech Talk, of course, that's just me, Nick, and Uncle Rob. Have a wonderful Christmas, a happy New Year, and we'll see you next time on Thursday Tech Talk.